Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome back to Fuel Your Legacy, and it is a wonderful day. We have had just the most incredible guests. If you did not get to listen to last Friday's episode with Sam Taggart, please, I implore you, go back and listen to it. That was hands down one of my favorite episodes to record, and I've listened to it twice now. There's so much in there for me to learn. Sam is just an incredible person. I'm a little bit partial. He has my same name. I love the name Sam. But really, in complete honesty, the things that he talks about as far as hustling, vision, being able to just continue to go no matter what somebody says against you. And then lastly, I think this is, for me at least, what I got most out of this is his commitment to his family and making sure that he's actually able to spend the right amount of time and to value that time with his family more than anything else. And I'm confident that as you get into the habit of being an entrepreneur and understanding that money is so readily and easily able to come into your life, once you really understand that and you get to that perspective and that point of view, then you are able to start making other things in life a priority and recognize that money is always going to be there. What's really, really important. And that's what I loved most about that episode. So please, please, please go back and give that a listen. Now, this week, I have another incredible guest on the show. Now, I first met this gentleman. His name is Richard E. Gordon, and I first met him at a conference that I went to with just a bunch of other entrepreneurs. It was a 2-day retreat up in Heber, Utah, and he had flown in from California, and it was just inspiring. This man, he's extremely humble, and his story is incredible. He started off in the martial arts industry and has progressed incredible through there, but he wanted to turn the information and things that he had learned through there all of his life into a coaching business, and he's done just that. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be on Friday, June 21st. Super excited for that. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a book review on 3 Feet from Gold. If you haven't heard that, it's by Greg S. Reid, and just a fantastic one. And interestingly enough, Greg and Richard have become friends since the time of when I met Richard. Richard's been able to go on to a lot of different speaking stages, and he's really blown up what he does and his influence, and he's actually got to meet Greg S. Reid. So just super, super excited to have those on there. But the topic for the week, and this is where it's important, it's a little bit cryptic, but we're going to have a great discussion about it, and I'm super excited to hear what your thoughts are as you leave comments and things like that. But be like water. Don't let obstacles stop your flow to your goals. Now, let's put into perspective what that means. Like, what if you really operated your life emotionally, mentally, healthily, in your health life? I don't know what the right term is, but basically your finances. What if you just said, hey, look, that's what I'm doing. That's my objective. That's my goal. And I'm going to be like water rather than causing these big waves or getting all jostled around. If there's an obstacle that gets placed in my way, rather than stopping and being damned, I'm going to find a way around it. I'm going to find a way to get to where I'm going. And whether it's through the way of least resistance or the way of most resistance, doesn't matter. I'm going to find a way to be there. Now, the flip side to being like water is you don't want to always just be like going where other people push you. And this is what's interesting about this, because there's 2 ways to look at this comment: be like water and don't let obstacles stop you. Well, sometimes people will intentionally place obstacles in your path of you accomplishing your goals and your dreams and you really becoming the person that you are meant to be. And in those situations, you have to ask yourself, am I being impeded? Is my path being impeded because somebody else is trying to stop me? Or is there just something naturally there? In both situations, I think the outcome should be I'm still trying to accomplish my goal. Now, some people will be like a wave tossed in the ocean. Now let me separate the two just so we're clear about what we're talking about. A wave tossed in the ocean, this person is somebody who's kind of just wishy-washy. They will go wherever. If they're going one place and then somebody tells them no, I guess I shouldn't be doing that, and they'll go somewhere else. And then they'll go somewhere else. Think of yourself more like water and cement, or like flooded around a cement. Even though there's a massive cement wall, or could be between a flood and the inside of that basement or the interior. Well, cement is porous, and eventually that water will seep through. How about another perspective is just even in your kitchen sink. So you have your kitchen sink, you fill up one side with water, and then you just drape a rag over the center of the sink. Put a plug in the empty sink at the time, and what you'll find is that over time, that rag will actually take the water from the sink that's full and drain it into the empty sink, right? So the water was able to find a way, well, we were going to help it half the way, but found a way to get past the obstruction, past the obstacle of saying, oh, I'm confined in this thing. Well, what if we could get over it? So start asking yourself, well, how could this happen? Just because that's an obstacle, just because somebody puts a law in place that you don't like, or something that's in your way of your success. A lot of these obstacles, the only reason they're an obstacle in the way of success is because there's a misunderstanding about the game that we're playing. And from a financial perspective, that is 99% true with my clients, right? When I come in and have a client sit down in front of me and I say, okay, well, what's going on? Why are you struggling financially? Let's look at the numbers, all these things. What it comes down to is they simply do not understand the rules of money. They don't understand really how these things work. They don't understand how taxes work. They don't understand what is going to happen in a few years when taxes go back up, what kind of position they're going to be in. And some of my clients, they're making millions of dollars a year. They're very well versed in how to grow income or grow money or accumulate cash, whatever it is. But then when it comes down to it, they don't know how to save on taxes completely. Now, they know a lot of different ways, but they don't know all of the ways that they can pay less taxes. And some clients, they are looking forward to a tax refund every year. They're, I'm getting 10 grand this back, or 3 grand or 4 grand or whatever it is. And they're getting this back. The question is, are they getting that back because of tax credits, or are they getting that back because they gave the government a 0% loan for a year? And so helping them understand the difference and how to get some of that money back on a monthly basis so that they can then go and grow their own money and earn interest on their own money rather than letting the government earn interest on their money. These are simple things that when I'm able to teach these concepts to my clients, it's like a light bulb goes off. They suddenly, the burden of any debt, the burden of any lack of knowledge or lack of understanding or fear of looking at where their money at, it kind of dissipates because they're able to start to look at it from a perspective of, wow, the more knowledge I have, the more understanding of how elements work, the more I'm able to accomplish with inside of the way the rules are operating. And that's what my objective is. And so that's the way I interpret this statement. Be like water, don't let the obstacles stop your flow to your goals. If there's an obstacle that comes in your way, flow around it. Find a way through it. Find a way over it. Find a way under it. Whatever the case is, find a way to accomplish your goal. And a lot of times, yes, you need to expand the scope of what you're willing to do to accomplish that goal, because sometimes you'll go and you'll try and do something and just that specific thing won't work. And so you're like, oh, I guess I shouldn't be doing that goal, rather than expanding your mindset of what could be the way to do that. So for instance, I really like speaking. And for a long time, I thought, man, I just want to be a public speaker. So I thought about all these different ways that I could learn to be a public speaker, all these different coaching programs or whatever that I could do. And I never thought that I would be in finance. Well, I finally got in touch with this company that I work with now. And I found that in the firm that they actually do national conventions. And some of these leaders, very, very few, of the overall amount of the company, probably like 30 people from the company, they get up and they get to speak in front of 50,000 people. And I have some interest in finance. I have some interest in psychology. I have some different interests. And so because of that, I said, okay, well, if this is going to ultimately help me accomplish my goal of public speaking, then I'm down for it, okay? Podcasting. I never thought that I would be a podcaster. I've told this story before on my podcast, but when I was about 6 years old, driving home from the dump in my grandpa's little red Ford Ranger, him and I were in the car together, and we were listening to the radio. Well, he turned down the radio, put his wrinkled hand on my knee, and said, Sam, you have a voice that's pleasant to listen to. Like, you could be a leader one day, maybe even be on the radio. Now, at that time, even 6 years old, I knew what it meant to have a radio face, right? I don't know how I knew what it meant to have a radio face, but I knew that I did not want to be a radio host, a radio show host, for whatever reason. Well, fast forward, 20 plus years now, and the irony is that's essentially what a podcast is. It's the only difference is now it's my own personal radio station that I get to create all the content for rather than working for somebody else. But I ultimately have a radio face. I have a radio. I have my own radio station. You can make judgments on my face by yourself. But the key is my ultimate goal hasn't changed, but as different obstacles have come up and different abilities to accomplish my goal have come up, my definition of how I was going to accomplish my goal has expanded. So when I want to wake up and speak to tens of thousands of people, I can get on my Facebook page and speak to about 6,000 people right now. If I want to speak to over 10,000 people, I can get on my Instagram page and do a Facebook Live, and I'm instantly speaking to 10,000 people. If I want to have maybe a longer form speaking engagement, then I can do my podcast. I can create a YouTube video. I mean, there's so many ways that you can accomplish your goals if you're willing to expand the scope of how to accomplish those goals, rather than just saying, no, I have to do it this way. That was a big thing when I got into the firm that I'm with. They have a certain way of interacting with and finding new clients. And for me, I don't necessarily love the way that they find new clients. And I really want to be a public speaker. So what I found for me was the first 2 or 3 years, I tried to do it one way. And then when I fully embraced my goal and allowed my goal to encompass what I was doing for income, now I actually get to speak on stages and get clients that way. And that's more fun for me. So it really comes down to what is the scope of how you're willing to accomplish your goal? And that's what I think of when it says be like water. Go anywhere you need to go into any nook and cranny, crevice, divot, hole, whatever it is. Go anywhere you need to make sure that you're going to accomplish your goal, and don't let obstacles that other people put in the way or that you put in the way yourself, don't let those stop you from your goals. So that is what we were talking about this whole week. Again, we're going to be reviewing 3 Feet from Gold. That book is awesome. I'm so excited to review this book because it's about one story that's actually told in Think and Grow Rich, and it kind of goes into depth there, and then actually talks about how in our own lives we can make sure that we're not coming up 3 feet from gold, which if you haven't read it, we're going to discuss that on Wednesday, what that means and the story behind it. And then on Friday, Richard E. Gordon, I'm super, super excited to have him on here as a guest because I know the value that he's going to bring to the table for you guys and what he's going to be able to share with you. So please, 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 again, another reminder, go back and listen to Sam Taggart's podcast. These are really produced because I love and care about you guys and want to be able to help just expand different ways of thinking, different ways of viewing life and experience, so that you can potentially, this is my objective and what I've found in my own life, but find greater happiness and peace and contentment and love for those around you in your life. That's why I do these, because I'm sharing principles, habits, and mindsets that are essential in creating a meaningful legacy in all areas of your life. And this one specifically, you have to learn to be tenacious, persistent, and goal-focused, and not let obstacles shut you down. So super excited for the rest of the week, this week, and we will catch you next time on Fuel Your Legacy. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.